Hello guys, it's me, Nex here, with another game of theories. So in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the current political alignment for each of the kingdoms within Westeros, and also to see who the likely candidates are going to be that Daenerys will choose to be her husband. Right at the end of Season 6, Episode 10, we saw Daenerys take a pretty huge dump on Daario Naharis, and we know she did this so that she could secure a political marriage with a Westerosi lord, and also to strengthen her campaign for the Iron Throne. But before we get to our list of suitors for the lovely Daenerys Targaryen, let's dissect the rest of Westeros and see where each of the kingdoms are currently sworn to. So, let's start with Team Cersei. The Crownlands is home to the capital of Westeros, King's Landing, which as we know is now under rule by super crazy bitch Queen Cersei Lannister. The Lannisters, who are the rulers of the Westerlands, are technically still allied with the Freys, who are lords of Riverrun, although Walder Frey was just assassinated by Arya. We're not sure if he has any other sons to carry on his name, but at the moment it seems like a pretty shaky alliance. Yeah, Jaime seems pretty, disapproving with his scornful looks towards Cersei during her crowning, but until we see something a bit more concrete, at this point you have to assume that both the Westerlands and Riverrun would fight for the crown at this point in time. The Iron Islands are still under the rule of the Ironborn, and as we know, they've just elected Euron Greyjoy as their new king. We know he intends to sit on the Iron Throne, and with Yara and Theon now siding with Daenerys, his only real option to do this is by forging an alliance with Cersei and the Lannisters. This offers him the throne and a chance to kill Theon and Yara. Now then, let's look at Team Daenerys. She's currently on her way to Dragonstone, stroke King's Landing, and she already has a pretty impressive army of Dothraki, Ironborn and Unsullied, not to mention her 3 dragons, straight up at her back. But the last thing she wants is for the other kingdoms of Westeros to declare for the capital, and then she has to contest with them too. Luckily for Dany, Varys has managed to procure an alliance with the Martells, who are the current rulers of Dorne, and with the Tyrells, who are the Lord Paramount of the Manda, which is basically the Reach. Although only Olenna Tyrell remains from their core bloodline. The good news is that we can see their ships in Daenerys' fleet in the closing scene from Season 6. So what does this leave for Daenerys? House Arryn, who are the current rulers of the Vale, have declared themselves for House Stark, and after what happened to Ned, you can safely say that the Starks and the North will not be siding with the capital. And luckily for us, looking at some of the leaked photographs, it's almost a dead cert that Jon and Daenerys are going to be buddying up. This means that the Stormlands that were last held by the Baratheons are the only other country that remain uncertain, and they're very much up for grab. Now that we have the major lords and the countries and who they're aligned to, let's make our predictions as to who Daenerys is most likely to marry and what each of them would actually offer for her. Now, number 5, which is more of a people's choice, Jaime Lannister. For me, the biggest issue with this is the fact that Jaime killed her father, and despite how mad, Aerys II became, it's still quite a thing to have to forgive, never mind actually marry that person. Especially when you consider what happened following the sack of King's Landing, with Rhaegar's wife, Elia Martell, and her niece and nephew being killed by the Mountain. But, that being said, she did start to make quite, big acknowledgements to her father being evil, stroke crazy, towards the end of Season 6, especially when, we see Theon and Yara come to broker an agreement with them. Given that she's looking to conquer King's Landing, it's only normal to think that she will want to get married before the war begins, for political reasons. If she marries afterwards, this could become quite a serious consideration. If Jaime was the one to fulfill the Valonqar prophecy and to kill Cersei, basically, handing back King's Landing to Daenerys, marrying Jaime would give her immediate ties to the Westerlands and to Casterly Rock. But would that be enough? Number 4, which again is another kind of people's pick, it seems to be a popular choice, Jorah Mormont. I guess this would have to be more of a romantic choice, especially on, Jorah's part. We pretty much have it slammed in our faces every season just how much he loves her and how, much he's willing to do anything for her. Bottom line though, there is no political gain, as House Mormon is already sworn to the Starks. And even if Jorah is Azor Ahai, I don't see what significance their marriage would have towards this. He saved her life twice, and has returned to her time after time. You can tell that she must, feel partly responsible and hold a bit of a guilt for him catching Grayscale. Could another rescue on his return change her feelings? Number 3, and I've not heard this guy mentioned much, Daikon Tarly. Daikon is the younger brother of Samwell Tarly, and he became their father's heir after Sam was pretty much disinherited by his father, and he was forced to join the Night's Watch. Something I mentioned earlier was about how Olenna was the only core Tyrell bloodline left, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee the commitment from all the houses within the Reach. House Tarly is a very strong house, and as we know, Daikon's father, Randyll Tarly, fought on the Targaryen side during Robert's rebellion, and it was he who commanded the Battle of Ashford, which was the only defeat Robert Baratheon suffered during the entire war. That sounds like a house that you would want on board, seeing as though they're about to go into battle. The marriage could also potentially unite all the lords within the Reach, and it might just help put to rest this business with Sam stealing their ancestral sword. For me, this is a hot choice. Number 2, Jon Snow. Already looking at the leaked photographs, we know they're going to cross paths. This marriage would secure a huge political gain, as it would secure both the North and the Vale for Daenerys. The only reason why this isn't number 1 for me is because, well, would marriage really be necessary for them to agree to help one another? Jon needs Daenerys, her army and her dragons to help fight the White Walkers, and Daenerys pretty much needs Jon's help in bringing seasoned winter warriors to help take down King's Landing. There is already huge motivation for them to work together without necessarily having to get married, and I have to be honest, even though they are both Targaryens, and it's been long custom for Targaryens to marry one another, this is an old tradition, and neither of them were really brought up with these principles. Is it really their style? However, this is definitely the safest bet. Number 1, Gendry Baratheon. Again, with quite a few leaked photos of Gendry back on set, it's made me greatly wonder why they would bring him back unless he's got some serious purpose and contribution to the story. Most people have been talking about him being the blacksmith whose talents could be, put to use to make more Valyrian steel, assuming that Sam or someone else finds out how to, reforge Valyrian steel. But looking at this from a completely political agenda, he is the last known man who is a direct bloodline from Robert Baratheon, although he still has, bastard status. If he was legitimized, it would actually make him heir to Lord Paramount of the Stormlands. This would provide Daenerys with huge numbers to strengthen her army, and it would give her, massive geographical strength in, on the attack on King's Landing. My only concern with this is whether the Lords of the Stormlands would rally behind Gendry, someone they just do not know at all, and Daenerys for that matter. At the end of the day, they were the people who led the way and ended the Targaryen dynasty. Let me know if you guys think that we'll see Daenerys get married, and who do you think it's gonna be? Don't forget to give your reasons why. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and if you did, then please show your support by smashing the like button and making sure that you subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you take it easy, and I'll see you later on in the week.